My name is Michael Milne. I'm a forest hydrologist working with INTERFOR on their short-term deactivation work and road and trail rehab work. I've been working in the forest sector for almost 30 years. Water management work is a big part of what I do every year. Most of our issues in forestry are water related. It's either too much water or water in the wrong place. When it's not managed properly, we have erosion and landslides and washouts and things that cause real environmental damage and cost money to fix.
I'm Laurie Lucas and I'm with INTERFOR. I've been with INTERFOR for 9 years and I'm in the silviculture and post-harvest department. In 2017, we put a renewed focus on road deactivation and seasonal deactivation, and Michael Milne came and did some training with our operators. The target audience for this video is logging, site prep, road construction or deactivation contract operators who will be installing seasonal road deactivation, water bars, grader bars, grading and crowning.
So my name is Steve Mosdell. I've got a company called Pass Creek Excavating. I do deactivation work for INTERFOR, as well as some road maintenance. What we've been doing today is deactivation, mostly removing culverts, putting in water bars, just trying to do our best to make sure the water goes back where it's supposed to.
So this is one of the key points around the seasonal deactivation treatment, is trying to keep the water off of the road. And you can see here the water's been flowing down the tire ruts, perhaps safe to the forest floor, perhaps into a fish stream. But the point is, we've got dirty water being generated here, we've got road damage, and we really have unknown consequences. So one of the misconceptions with road surface water is it is coming from a ditch somewhere. And in fact, it's not. It's coming from the running surface itself, which is a compacted material, and it has run down the tire ruts over the last culvert and is going down the hill here. The seasonal or temporary treatment is really designed to keep the water off of the road surface, to protect it from erosion for several years until we can get our silviculture treatments completed. So the combination of crowning and water bars or grader bars, you can see, is going to move this water off the road and not allow it to concentrate and erode. So water bars should be built in a way that directs the water to the ditch unless we're sure, as we say. And so here's a good example of the half water bar again. The first one is tipped to the ditch and the second one is tipped out, because in that case we're sure, as we have a subtle draw there, which is the right place to put the water. Typically want to put more water bars or grader bars where we have steeper grade and finer materials. So here we have a full water bar with a good skew angle, probably as much skew as we can build with the machine we're using. The more skew, the more effective the structure is. So we're working with the water as opposed to trying to force it off with a closer to 90-degree angle. And this one would be maybe almost 45. So spoiling material on the low side of the water bar gives us a little better result than removing all of the material, provided it doesn't create a large bump for driving. So effective water bars are not only skewed and tipped, but they're also wide. Not necessarily deep, but wide, which creates a friendly, effective structure for water that's safer to drive through and lasts longer. The structure also is tipped, so that it allows the water to drain down and away, and it's flared at the outlet. So this is what we would refer to as a textbook water bar. The half water bar is really designed to pick the water up from one tire rut and direct it off. So sometimes we don't need the full water bar. The skew angle of the water bar is important for working with the water as opposed to trying to force it off the road. They're also easy to drive through, and they can be as effective or more effective than a water bar that is the width of the road. Grader bar construction. Same rules as with water bars, where we want them to tip to the ditch unless we're sure. And the key with the grader bar is to to build with an extreme skew angle. And the key is that the grader builds the grader bar from the low side, not the high side. So we move the blade outboard, we tip it, so we use the corner of the blade, and as the grader comes across, the blade is finishing the structure just as the tire is basically entering the ditch. So we don't drive in the ditch, we don't have to back up, we just drive away, build the next one. In our seasonal or short-term water management treatment is to crown the road after harvest. And usually we would bring the grader back to do that, but it's also possible to do it with a log. So what Steve has done, he's actually fluffed the surface a little bit to give him something to work with, and then he's used the log to crown the road effectively. So the point of the in-block trail rehab is to restore natural drainage patterns and stabilize the slope. And in this case, we have a trail that has an invert to it. So what's going to happen here, it also has a windrow down one side as the water is going to concentrate on the trail and go to either the water bars or in this case off the switchback. So the proper sequence of events for the rehab is to decompact and outslope from the base of the invert and then pull the rest of the material across and tie it into the cut. The last step will be to pull back any organic debris and scatter it over the spoils. What we're looking at here was a culvert removal replacement with a cross ditch. In this case, the armor was used to make the surface more drivable. It was soft. And what we recommend with all surface water or even more heavy-handed deactivation work is that the operators drive the work at the end of every day. And you learn a lot when you drive through your work, and in this case we drove it and we touched the front and the back on both trips through, so we're just going to do a little bit more touch-up work here to make it more friendly. And so again, even if it's a seasonal, temporary work, we should drive all of our water bars and grader bars just to make sure that they're smooth, friendly, effective, and that we haven't left a lot of larger rocks on the surface for safety reasons. INTERFOR has been working with the seasonal road deactivation BMP or best management practice for 4 to 5 years now, following some fairly significant runoff events in the spring of 2017. And since that time we've seen significant improvements in the implementation of the BMP. And I think that we're going to continue to improve with refreshers like this, and particularly on the road and trail rehab and the seasonal deactivation.